Yes students, today we will start next topic. I hope all of you have done previous topics, mean, median, mode, standard deviation and variance, because all these topics are used in further exercise. So these topics also should be clear to you before doing this exercise. So today we will start topic movements. Now listen firstly, what is movement? Movement is a quantitative measure of the shape of a frequency distribution. If you draw any frequency distribution, or if any data is given to you, then in that data, how data is spread means it tells us about a measure of distribution of the data, means frequency distribution. In this case we will find out movement of the given data about mean. We will find out movements about mean. Now see firstly what is the formula for movements about mean. Suppose any data is given to you, ungrouped data is given to you, and in that data suppose n observations are there. In case of total number of observations n, then what will be the mean in this case? Mean is equal to sum of all the observations divided by total number of observations, and it is denoted by x bar. This is the value of mean, which already you have done in the previous exercise. Now we will find out movements. Here formula for movements is, it is denoted by mu. Formula for movements is mu r. This is equal to summation xi minus x bar whole raised to power r divided by n. Here any value of r starts from 0, 1, 2 up to infinity. Any value of r you can take here. Now if in this formula you are taking r is equal to 0, then it gives you value of mu 0, and which is equal to summation xi minus x bar whole raised to power 0 divided by n. So this is, it becomes, if from the all observations here power 0 it gives you 1, summation of 1, this is equals to, because in this case if you applied this formula on any data, then always it gives you one value. You can check, you can apply this formula in any statement, it gives you always 1. And similarly mu 1, if you are taking r is equal to 1 here, then formula for mu 1, this is equal to summation xi minus x bar raised to power 1 divided by n. If you imply this formula on any data, then always it gives you 0, means value of mu 0 is 1, always value of mu 1 is 0, it is always fixed. Now see mu 2, how you will find out mu 2? If you are taking r is equal to 2 in this case, then it gives you value of mu 2, and value of mu 2 you will get xi minus x bar whole square divided by n. And if you know, this is the formula for variance, which is already you have done in previous exercise. This is formula for variance also, means mu 2 gives you value of variance, or you can say the value of mu 2, from the value of mu 2 you can find out variance, both will be equal. Similarly by taking r is equal to 3 you can find out mu 3, by taking r is equal to 4 you can find out mu 4. So mu 1, mu 2, mu 3, these are known as movements. So I am explaining one question in which I will find out value of movements. So see the statement. Suppose first these movements are known as central movements. Suppose data is 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 17, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 observations given to you. N is equal to 8 here. Now suppose we want to find out first 4 central movements. We will find out first 4 central movements. Now see how you will find out first 4 central movements. First 4 central movements means mu 1, mu 2, mu 3 and mu 4. We will find out value of these 4 movements. So in this firstly you will make a table. In this you will take first column xi. In second column you will take difference xi minus x bar raised to power 1 for mu 1. In second column, if you want to find out mu2, you will make one more column xi minus x bar whole square. For mu3, we will make one column xi minus x bar whole raised to power 3, and for mu4 you will make one column xi minus x bar whole raised to power 4. So with the help of these 4 columns, in the last you will take sum of these values and summation. With the help of this summation of these columns, very easily you can find out mu1, mu2, mu3 and mu4. But here, before taking this difference, mean, value of mean is required. So see what is mean here. X bar is equal to sum of all these observations divided by total number of observations. If you add all these observations, then sum is 80, total observations 8, and if you divide it, it gives you 10. So value of mean is 10. So I am writing here again all these given observations: 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13 and 17. Now difference with mean of all these observations. This is minus 6, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 2, 3 and 7. If you add all these values, then it gives you 0. So if this sum is equal to 0, it means first central movement, value of first central movement is 0. Now in second case, again you will take square of this. Direct you can find out from this column square of this. Minus 6 square 36, 3 square 9, 4, 1, 0, 4, 9 and square of 7 is 49. And if you add all these values, then it gives you 112. This is the sum of this column. So now what is the formula for mu2? Mu2 is equal to summation xi minus x bar whole square divided by total number of observations. So where this sum is 112, total number of observations 8, and if you divide 112 by 8, it gives you 14. So similarly, by finding sum of these two columns, you can find out mu3 and mu4. So in this way, this is an example in which we have find out value of central movements. Now we will start next topic, skewness. And in this skewness topic, if you suppose draw graph for any given data by taking observations along x-axis and taking frequency along y-axis, and then if data is distributed in this region, and suppose for this data if you are finding value of mean, median and mode, if all these three are equal and value of mean, median and mode is this, then this data will be symmetrical about this line. This data will be symmetrical. So in next topic, skewness, we will measure this symmetry, but it is not necessary that for all the data always it will be symmetrical, because in all the data it is not necessary that mean is equal to median is equal to mode. In some cases these two are equal, third one is different. In some cases all three are unequal, in some cases all three are equal. So there are different cases. Now if first case value of mean is greater than value of median and median is greater than mode, in that case this graph will be positively skewed. In that case graph will be positively skewed, means this type of graph will be obtained. And if you are taking reverse of this case, in that case this graph will be negatively skewed. Negatively skewed means this type of graph will be obtained. So in skewness we will measure this symmetry. Skewness is nothing, this is just a measurement of this symmetry. Now see how you will find out this symmetry. There are three different methods for measuring this skewness. So in this exercise we will, in this video I will explain only one method. That method is Karl Pearson's coefficient of skewness. Karl Pearson coefficient of skewness, and this is denoted by SKP. S for skewness, KP for Karl Pearson's. Now what is the formula for measuring skewness by using this method? Formula for this Karl Pearson coefficient is SKP. This is equal to mean minus mode divided by standard deviation. And already all of you know very well that if any data is given to you, then with the help of given data very easily you can find out mean, median, mode, variance, standard deviation, all these things. So for finding this coefficient, mean, mode and standard deviation, these three things are required. But sometimes in place of mode, suppose median and mean is given to you, then there is one relation between mean, median and mode. This formula is mode is equal to 3 times of median minus 2 times of mean. With the help of this relation, if mode is not given to you, mean and median is given to you, then by using this formula you can find out firstly mode. After that, with the help of mean, mode and standard deviation, you can find out this coefficient. Now after finding this coefficient, how you will check about skewness? Suppose this is a line at number line, this is 0. Suppose I am taking this interval from minus 0.5 to 0.5. If you are getting value of coefficient of this skewness, if you are getting value of SKP, this coefficient which lies between minus 0.5 to 0.5, if you are getting suppose minus 0.2 plus 0.3, such type of value which lies in this interval, for that case this data will be fairly symmetry. This data will be fairly symmetrical about that central line. Now second case, if value of this coefficient is lies between minus 1 to 0.5 or otherwise plus 0.5 to 1, in that case this data will be moderately skewed. And third case, if value of this coefficient is less than minus 1 or you can say greater than 1, in third case this data will be highly skewed. So in the last of each and every statement you will mention this statement. Out of these three, any one statement you will mention. Given data is fairly symmetrical, moderately skewed or highly skewed. It depends upon the value of this coefficient, value of this Karl Pearson coefficient. And if value of this Karl Pearson coefficient lies between minus 0.5 to plus 5, it means this is fairly symmetrical. If it lies between minus 1 to 0, minus 0.5 to 0.5 to 1, in that case it is moderately skewed. Or in third case, this data will be highly skewed. So now we will do one or two questions related to this topic. Now I am taking one statement. Suppose the mean, median, mode, standard deviation, this is given to you. Suppose mean in any statement is given to you 45. Mode is also given to you, which is equals to 52, and value of standard deviation is suppose 15. Then find the value of Karl Pearson coefficients of skewness, means SKP. And all of you know that what is the formula for this? Mean minus mode divided by standard deviation. So mean is 45, mode is 52, standard deviation is 15. This is minus 7 by 15. It gives you minus 0.467. So minus 0.467, it lies between minus 0.5 to plus 0.5. This is first case. So in this case data is fairly symmetrical. So here in the last you will write down data is fairly symmetrical. So this is one question in which we have just direct put the value of mean, mode and standard deviation in the formula. Now see one more statement. Now suppose xi and yi, not mean, median, mode, this is given to you. We will calculate firstly mean, median, mode, standard deviation, each and everything. After that we will find out value of Karl Pearson coefficient. So see one more sum related to this topic. Suppose xi data is given to you and value of xi and fi is given to you in form of a table. So from this horizontal table you will make two columns. Here you will write down value of xi and fi, which is equal to 4, 6, 8, 10 and 12. Value of fi again 4, 8, 14, 11 and 3. These two xi and fi given in the statement. Now calculate Karl Pearson coefficient of skewness, means calculate the value of this coefficient. So for this, mean, mode and standard deviation, these three things are required. So firstly we will find out mean, mode and standard deviation. After that we will, with the help of these three values, we will find out this coefficient. So now see how you will find out mean. For mean it's very simple. For formula of mean is summation of fi xi divided by sum of all frequencies, means summation xi. So we will make one column for product of xi and fi. This is equal to 16, 48, 112, 110, last is 36, and sum of all these values is 322, and sum of all observations, this is 40. So here value of mean is 322 by total number of observations, which is equal to 40. It gives you 8.05. So this is the value of mean. Here I will write down in the side value of mean, x is equal to 8.05. Now I will calculate mode. Now see how you will calculate mode. The highest frequency in this case is 14, and this highest frequency is 14. For this 14 highest frequency, observation is 8. So value of mode is equal to 8 in this case. Now standard deviation. All of you know that formula for standard deviation, this is equal to 1 by n into root of some n into summation fi xi square minus summation fi xi whole square. This is the formula of standard deviation, or otherwise you can find out firstly variance, and standard deviation is equal to square root of variance. So with the help of this formula, firstly we will calculate standard deviation. So for this product of fi xi, this is required, which is already we have find out, and we will make one more column fi xi square. So we will multiply fi xi with xi, it gives you value of fi xi whole square. So it is equal to 64, 288, 896, 1100 and 432, and sum of this column is 2780. Now with the help of these results, we will find out this standard deviation 1 by n. N is here number of observations, which is 40. Again write down here 40. Summation fi xi whole square, this is equal to 2780 minus summation fi xi, this is 322. This is square of 322. Now it's only calculation work is left here. You will do calculation work very carefully, and when you will simplify it, then after simplification it gives you value of standard deviation, which is equal to 2.17. So after finding mean, mode and standard deviation, which is equal to 2.157, now we will calculate the value of Karl Pearson coefficient. So formula for this coefficient is mean minus mode divided by standard deviation. So what is mean? Mean is 8.05, mode is 8, and standard deviation is 2.17. And when you simplify it, 0.05 divided by 2.17, it gives you 0.03. So again, this value, on the basis of this value, you can identify that this given data is fairly symmetrical. So this is a skewness topic. I hope all of you understood this topic. In today's work, you will do the few questions, 4 or 5 questions related to this topic.